All right. Well, so Carol, since you're the ranking member, do you want to be the acting chairman again?
Does anyone else want to be the acting chairman?
We'll let you continue, Carol.
You did well. Just
all right, let's hit it. Good afternoon, everyone. Are we on?
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Thank you for attending our Wednesday, September 16th meeting of the Small Business Loan Committee as we review the Winston-Salem Business Plan Contest applications. I think we have a quorum, and so I'll call the meeting to order, and our first item of business on the agenda. Is that what you just sent us, the minutes from last time?
Yes, that's right. And by the way, my name is Stephen Harrison. I'm the Small Business Development Specialist for the City of Winston-Salem, and I work in the Office of Business Inclusion and Advancement.
Okay, what we have are the minutes from the August 31st meeting. Did everyone have an opportunity to review those minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, any questions or any changes that need to be made? If not, I'll call for a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. The minutes from our August 31st meeting have been accepted. And as far as I know, the main item on our agenda today is to review the applications from the loan committee. Is that right, Stephen?
That's right. If you don't mind, I can go over the business plan contest and tell you a little bit about it. So this year we held the City of Winston-Salem business plan contest. I believe this is the 6th year we've done it. And this is the 4th year we've done it where we have 2 winners that can be chosen. It's typically about a 6-month process between the kickoff in the early part of the year and when the decision is made in the summer. We've had a little bit of a delay this year due to COVID-19. We stretched out some of the dates to give people a little bit more time, due to a lot of the things that go into writing these business plans, being, involved with working with teams, working with materials and resources that people had limited access to. So we're now in September talking about this, talking about the final last little bit of this. This year we had a number of really high quality entries. You guys have been getting tons of emails and physical mailings from me when I have your correct address. Apologies, Dustin. And luckily, we should have some pretty interesting ones to look at today. Again, you all had some ratings materials that you could use where you could generate a number for each one. But again, staff recommends that those numbers be a guide for discussion, more so than a final number-based system that you go by. We just want to make sure that there's a discussion jumping off point for looking at these plans. It might be a good idea to take a look at, rather than just going through one by one, to say maybe start with the certain committee members and to say, which one jumped out at you and why, and to sort of springboard off that. But that's just staff recommendation. You all proceed as you'd like.
Okay, Stephen, I have a quick question, maybe before we dive into the individual businesses. Would you mind refreshing our memory on the disbursement process, or maybe the thing or two that triggers the disbursement of the awarded monies to the winners?
Absolutely. So once the decision is made about who the winners are for the business plan contest, then I will work closely with those winners to make sure that they have met the components that we need to disperse the funds. For instance, showing that they have a proposed location in the NRSA, showing that they can get to that finish line to open. Typically, making sure that we're giving funds to businesses that are going to be legally able to operate, and then also making sure that they're going to be having that their business is going to be very, very, very similar to what won them the contest. The road from winning to actually getting open is going to shift things somewhat, but that's generally what we do. There's some other little small print things, but those are the big ticket items as far as how staff moves forward with the winners after the contest is over.
Thank you.
Okay, are we ready? Darnella, you're on mute. Oh, everybody's on mute.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, well, and I was just gonna, open the floor and say, is there anyone who would like to proceed with providing their impressions of these plans?
I can go ahead and start. I really enjoyed the applicants for this year. And I had a clear front runner as well as second, and just all the way down the line. But there's some great discussions here, some great companies. And the one I would like to discuss is the Chad's Chai.
What about it, Darnell, or what?
With Chad's Chai, that was my number one choice. I really liked the whole plan that he has, and I like the idea of what he's trying to do. But also, and I wanted to ask about this. This is already currently a business, if I'm not mistaken. It's just not a brick and mortar.
That's correct. He has been in the business of selling tea for a long time, from what I know.
Okay, so he knows his stuff, but so he's just going to go into use the brick and mortar facility to also do what he has been previously doing as far as the teas. I think selling and all of that with the teas that he was doing prior.
Yeah, I think that the idea behind that for the request or the business needs is for architectural drawings to start that brick and mortar process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the concern I had about this one, I think it's a good concept and it was well written, but is what Stephen was saying about getting to completion.
Mm-hmm. And
he doesn't seem to have a building yet. Or the building, well, he has a building identified, but it needs a lot of work, and it's a building he's leasing. And I mean, we've talked before about, what is the owner's contribution? He's going to put a substantial investment into upfitting a building he doesn't own.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we do need to see, this is federal money, so we do need to see a completed project up and running with at least a minimal amount of employment. And I'm just concerned that it's going to take I mean, if something happens, he doesn't get it going, we're stuck with spending money that we then have to repay to HUD with local funds. And that's my main concern with this. I mean, it was good, but it was like my second choice, I think, or third.
Mm-hmm.
I had that same concern because without the architectural work done, you really don't know if what build out estimate is correct.
Right.
And I wasn't positive if these sales numbers are his current sales numbers or are these his projected sales numbers upon completion of the new facility.
Yeah.
That I wasn't clear about that.
When I was reading it, I thought I was wondering if the same thing, but I looked upon them as just projections because he didn't say what his numbers are currently.
Mm-hmm. Which I think would have made the proposal stronger if he could have shown his current financial feasibility.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been interesting information to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point, Carol. I'm glad you brought that up. If these are proposed or an existing track record of previous sales,
Mm-hmm.
and once he opens the brick and mortar, what his anticipated bump in revenue would be having a physical store versus not at this time.
Right.
That being said, I thought it was a rather strong business plan proposal. So it's kind of tied in my top two, I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
Very nicely done. Graphics are great.
Right. It was nicely
The
done.
layout was very good.
It made me really want chai.
Right. I love tea. So.
Yeah. I almost think it would be a better candidate for our regular program than for the small business plan contest.
For what it's worth, I do communicate to everyone who's going through the contest, about the small business loan program, and talk to them about, what that looks like and whether or not they might be interested in doing that. So that does come up.
Mm.
He seemed like he had his finances pretty much in line. But the picture of the building that he sent, that was very questionable.
Yeah. And he agreed that it was hidden, a little bit hidden. It wasn't
right. The location
highly accessible from from the street, or wasn't very visible from the street. So
yeah, it's a fixer-upper.
Yeah.
For sure.
That being said, I've seen worse before pictures for downtown projects.
Right.
Yeah, I like the garage doors. I can kind of just imagine those, the places you go where people keep the garage doors.
Yeah,
sometimes in the winter they're closed and in the summer they're up.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
A little paint.
A little power washing.
Yeah.
Anybody have strong feelings about any of the others?
Well, I mentioned the one that seemed to have the lowest barrier to entry would be the Achieving Your Wellness, where the gentleman only seemed to need inventory and some a few blenders to get going, and would have a presence within an existing
business
location, within an existing business. I could really see $5,000 taking him
a long way
to business. Yeah, he could start business with $5,000 and be operational, is how it appeared. So that was attractive
I wish he had included some cash flow, some financials. That didn't see
Yeah.
any of those.
I think the downfall was exactly that. There was not a lot of information provided about that.
Yeah, that's I kind of picked up on that. There's maybe a lot of assumptions being made with that one. I agree. It's not going to take a massive. You're not going to need cranes and backhoes to open that business. But there was, I think, a lack of some information provided that we would just have to go on assumptions.
Mm-hmm. Even $3,900, he said, to get started. So he'd have some change.
Right.
That could carry him a minute, he'd have a little working capital.
Yeah.
He'd have some change at the end of the day, which
Which is great.
Yeah.
Feel in my heart, I can only take so much. Just you're killing me.
And the other plans all required a lot to me.
A lot more cash.
Yeah, a lot. And
Right.
with the Aussie Johns, I really liked where they were going with that, but that's going to take a lot of money. But the owner is putting in a lot of money.
Yeah, I did like that.
Yeah. I think that was my number one choice. And one reason, because she already owns the building. She's put a lot of money already in it, and she seems to have a lot of money. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a go. So
Right.
a little bit of money from us will help out.
Yep, that was my.
And
That was
Darnella, let me correct you because it's Aussie Joe's.
Oh, is it Joe's? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, okay, because it's
Liking coffee.
Yeah.
It's okay. I just wanted to set that up.
Aussie Joe's. Okay.
Mm-hmm. She had a strong management team.
Yep.
They seem to have great experience. It is an expensive project, but as you mentioned, she's got a lot of this already covered.
And this is not predicated on something else. This is going to open. This is going to be up and running soon.
Well, she did still need $98,000 of borrowing.
Right.
Right, but didn't she have that lined up?
She had the proceeds from the property that she's selling.
Mm-hmm.
210,000.
210, yeah.
But on page, what page is that?
She mentioned that 98,000 will be financed through conventional lending and/or the city of Winston-Salem's downtown revitalization loan program.
Mm-hmm. You see that one diagram? She still needs some money.
Yeah, Stephen, is she up for a different source of money?
From us? Is that what you asked?
Not that I know of. I have spoken with this individual and some people on her team about possibility of applying for our loan program. I think that I don't want to get into too many of the details there because I think their financial planning is in flux due to COVID. That might be something worth following up on later with them.
Yeah, and so typically in normal times, coffee and alcohol can sell with no problem, but with these restrictions that we're seeing now, even they have challenges,
Yeah, and that makes it hard on these type of businesses. New, existing, it doesn't even matter.
One of the great benefits of the business plan contest is that we don't have a really super strict timeline on when the funds need to be dispersed after the winners are decided. So we can have some flexibility and give them some time to identify a good location, a good time to use the funds, that sort of thing.
All right. Any comments about any of these other plans? I guess that just leaves the salon and the transportation business.
Yeah, the transportation business, I could see it. There seems to be, I don't have any data on this personally, but anecdotally, there seems to be a need for that type of service within the community. I would imagine it operating it as a for-profit business has a different strategy and maybe some different challenges than a civic entity or municipality. So I think some of the information they provided was good information, some of it, but then I thought that some of it, there was maybe a couple of holes in there that we still needed answering.
So in all fairness, I need to disclose that this gentleman reached out to me prior to this competition. And so I don't feel comfortable voting because I did talk to this gentleman before.
Gotcha.
Well, and this one also seemed to need just a lot of money, and even in their core business, which would be providing transportation, they have no transportation as of yet. So a van would have the thing that their business is all about needs to be purchased.
Yeah, they would still need to execute that purchase. You're right.
And the salon, finally, I think they needed to borrow a substantial amount of money also before they could open. And it wasn't clear that they have a specific location in mind.
I had that question too.
And interestingly, I went on and Googled All About You. And there is a place already called All About You Salon and Day Spa, but I don't think it's this same person.
Yeah, I appreciate, there's a good amount of data. You could tell they took time with the business plan and did their research, but I would agree regarding the financial needs still to take place to open the doors.
Do we know what experience she has operating a salon or being a hairdresser or a cosmetologist? It didn't seem to come through in the application.
It wasn't clear. It wasn't clear in the application, but it seemed as if this is what she does. She had some experience in this, and as far as being a teacher, that was the vibe that I got from it.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. She is a teacher of some sort. And it was somewhat of a training center. And now that which was also, not total, a business, but not quite a business.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great idea. The concept was a really good idea where she wanted to keep everything under one roof.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, male and female services all in the same shop. That was.
But it takes a lot to get this up.
She didn't address how she planned to raise the other $128,000. She's got, she had some savings, but would still need $128,000, and that wasn't addressed at all.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So it sounds like we kind of agreed on which proposals were more strongly presented. Um,
Is that right? So,
it's, I think, am I right?
are you? You're the acting chairman.
Sure.
I'm the chairman. It sounded like we agreed on the stronger ones.
The Aussie Joes.
Aussie Joe's, yes, we said Aussie Joe's was well written. And Chad's Chai was well written.
Mm-hmm. Chad's Chai was well written. I really enjoyed that one. Aussie Joe's as well, but Chad's Chai was I like that.
Although I think we also agreed that, well, I don't know, I felt like Achieving Your Wellness had the shortest amount of work to do to open up.
And the bigger bang for the buck, though, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I just...
Yeah.
I also, with that one, wanted to see more about the business in which he was, I'm saying in which they were going to be inside of. Because if that business closes, then his business has to close.
Well, that's true too. And I did Google that business to see that it is an operating business, although I don't know, with COVID, if it had to close, right. Because those gyms were not open during COVID.
Fair point. Yeah, that's.
Stephen, do you know if it's open?
I'm not aware. I'd have to follow up on that.
Mm-hmm. Well,
are we allowed to get extra information on this one? Or does that disadvantage the others?
I think that this would be another situation where we'd put off the voting of the whole thing to another meeting. Just to be fair to everyone.
Yeah.
Well, so we put it off, and for the purpose of finding out if it's still if the training center is still operational.
Or it could be, this. You could approve. You could say that it's it wins, but under the assumption that the business plan is written with a working business in mind that they're actually occupying. Because again, staff, we do when we're working on distributing the funds and dispersing the funds, we make sure that the businesses are still generally in line with what their business plans had presented to you all. So, for instance, if Chad's Chai changes into Chad's Childcare, it's going to be obviously like a very different business. But if it's Chad's Chai and Chestnut Checkers or something, it's all of a sudden that's close enough. I might have had some poetic license with those.
Yeah, that's a riveting example.
Yeah, all right, but what if Chad's Chai gets a different building? Does that change it, or?
It depends. We've had similar situations come up where it's been something that looks substantial, but then when you actually take a really strong look at how it fits in with the business model, it's basically the same. And then we've also come back to you all before when we've had something that's substantially changed. So that's just a kind of a gray area. I know that's not a great answer, but it's.
So we can approve something conditioned on a little bit more.
Yeah,
I mean, the achieving your goals, forgot the achieving one, like condition on that the building, that the building he's proposing to operate in is operating, or
Exactly. When I'm writing the minutes for this meeting, and this is what I've done for the other contest meetings, I'll include reasoning for what you thought was really pushed the winners over the edge, and that's typically where I'll look and make sure that they're, directly following with that first and foremost. So if you were to say, achieving your wellness is a winner especially because of the strong business plan where they have a in operation business that they're going to be working closely with or inside. That's something that I would include in the minutes, and something that would be, a very important factor in determining the disbursement.
Carol, you mentioned you Googled this business earlier. Did it seem as though it was a business that was like open, 8 to 5 or whatever, 8 to 6, so full time, at least 40 hours a week, versus like Beyond Measures PT? They describe it as a personal training studio. So I wonder if it was almost like by appointment only is when it's operational.
I couldn't tell that part. I don't know.
Because one thing I did, and I will mention this just as an overarching comment for all of the business plans, and just for people who might be making business plans in the future, one consistent thing I saw throughout all of the business plans was what I felt, being in marketing for several years, a deficient amount of funds dedicated to marketing and advertising.
Mm-hmm.
So I would encourage all business plan writers and entrepreneurs to take that to heart. The ones we have before us here now, and other ones that it's not as quite as efficient and cost effective as maybe it seems on the surface. There's I think more resources that need to be devoted to that. So I was wondering, especially with this one, the Achieving Your Wellness, I mean, it's $500 for advertising. That's one boosted Facebook post, and you're $500 a shot. So I don't know if he or she is depending on just the walk-in traffic.
From
That's
Beyond
the sense I got. That
yeah, me too.
Going to piggyback on the customers that already come in the door.
Right. Because those would have to be his customers, because it didn't seem like he was reaching out to others outside of that.
Right.
And then can you just walk in there to visit the wellness center?
That's what I wondered.
Mm-hmm. That wasn't clear. And if you're depending on somebody else, like you say, if the personal training business closes or moves,
right,
what's going to happen to?
I think Achieving Your Wellness would have given the most bang for the buck. I think that would have, that's the difference between, that's really enough to even start the whole business and have change, like Madam President Carol said. So I think that, but based on all the underlying factors with that, I would go with Aussie Joe's or Chad's Chai. But I like that.
They were both the best written plans, I believe. And I do think that, assuming that they do have the ability to raise the rest of the funds that they need, those were the most strongly written plans.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well.
And one other thing that set Aussie Joe's apart for me was the fact that they were putting in the amount of capital that they were.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So they have like a lot of skin in the game here.
A lot of experience as well.
Yep. And so in Chad's Chai, the same. Mm-hmm. The experience is there. I love tea. That has nothing to do with this, but
yeah, but I just can't see us putting funds into Chad's Chai up front like that. That's my biggest concern. and then the cost of the building and what's going to be involved in getting that building into shape. I mean,
I wish he would have spent a little more time on the current business and how it operates, where it operates from, and how it. I didn't see much about that. But that's my 2 cents. I can go with either one of those.
All right, so if I'm hearing, Ozzie Joe's is the number, we all agree, Ozzie Joe's was strongly written. The owner's putting a lot of skin in the game in terms of her own investment, strong management team, well thought out plan. And I believe on my sheet, they've scored the highest. Do I hear any motion that for Ozzie Joe's?
Do we need a motion? Or
yes. I mean, I agree with what you just said. And yes, any winner, you need a motion, second, and vote.
So could we vote on the top two, and then we go back and decide which one is number one and which one is number two? Or are we agreeing that this is number one?
It sounds like you're all agreeing on this one at least. And it sounds like there
We
might
are
be
agreeing on this one at least.
It sounds like there might be some disagreement on what's going to fill the number 2 slot.
right, number 2. But I agree that Ozzie Joe's should be tops in number 1 as far as I can agree with that.
Is that a motion, Darnell?
Are we going to do it? Are we going to make a motion, or are we going to discuss these and then make the motion? 1 and 2.
It doesn't matter, whatever you want to do.
Okay, I make a motion that we go with business plan for Ozzie Joe's as the number 1 plan for this year's contest winner.
Second.
All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, so Ozzie Joe's is the number 1 winner based on the strength of the plan, the amount of investment, the strength of the management team. It just is very well-written plan. And they are experienced. And bars and coffee make money. Okay, so then we look for who's in second place. I think we all agreed that we like Chad's Chai, but the problem with Chad's Chai is that although the plan was written, there's not as much cash already lined up to make Chad's Chai happen. And he was not specific about what his current numbers are. These numbers that are in here, if these were his current operating numbers, we'd have a little bit more to go on. If these are projections after he has moved into his brick and mortar, then we feel like he's a long way from realizing this operational plan. Is that what I'm hearing? Do you all agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I there is on one hand, there's a plus that the business, although not brick and mortar, does have a revenue stream coming in.
Why do you need brick and mortar if you already have an e-commerce business? Come on.
That was my question. I was wondering that.
What's up, Chad?
Part of trying to take over the world.
1 tea bag at a time.
Yeah. So I know just from being around local stores around there, there is a wholesale component that he does have revenue from. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they were at Winston Junction Market too on the weekends when that was going on pre-COVID.
Hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. So if Chad is not number two because of what we don't quite know,
Well, for me, what I don't know about Chad's,
it's still better than what we have with the other three.
right,
That's a fair
right,
statement.
it's kind of,
That's unfortunate.
you know, okay, I don't know. I wish I had a little bit more information about Chad's current business and his revenue stream and all that, and why he, but as far as the other ones, achieving your wellness, I don't know about the business that you're inside of. Is that even open? Will it be open? Are you going to have a limited number of people? How would that affect the business that you are trying to do there? Under the new COVID rules, if you can only have 2 people or 5 people in there at a time, what's the chances of all 5 of them are going to order something from you? Something like that. So that kind of, that's a thought for that one. And with the all about you, there's a lot of variables here as well. And then with the humane travels, there's not even a vehicle there yet. So,
Well,
I mean, I can be swayed, but what do you guys think?
Justin, Diane, what do you think?
Do we have to have 2?
Yes. I would agree with, maybe Darnell's previous statement that the unknowns of Chad's tie are arguably less so than some of the unknowns with the other business plans. I do think that the building is a question mark.
Do we have to so Stephen, do we have to choose 2, or can we choose 1 now and then revisit these other 4 and come back next time with a second place winner?
The 2020 business plan contest has been advertised as having 2 winners. So we should have 2 winners.
Mm-hmm. Are we allowed to table this and try to, or are we in it? I mean, how do you all feel?
You guys are free to operate how you'd like. I think that there's not really a precedent for tabling it halfway through deciding this, but then that doesn't mean it's not necessarily something that can't be done. If you'd like to do that and come back and take a little bit more time to review, I feel like if you want to make that decision, you can.
Well, Diane, what do you feel about the other ones compared to the second place?
Let's say that again.
What do you feel about the second place?
Who do I think it should be?
Yes.
That's why I asked if we had to have a second one. I'm not kind of struggling with it. Even though Chad's Chai is good, I still don't think we should be spending money until the end of their business project.
Well, can we do that, Stephen? Is that a possibility? Like award them second place, but they have to get a little bit closer to completing their project?
Yeah, I think that's something that would be understandable. If you all talk about how, what really got this one to be a winner for you is the whole project and sort of making sure that it would all come together. That I think that would make that would be sort of in line with what you're trying to do.
What do you guys think about that?
I'm comfortable with that.
Mhm.
Diane?
Yeah, as long as you spend the money late in the project and we're sure it's going to be a go. I mean, we need a completed project when we spend the money.
Right.
So whatever we can call a completed project and for a justifiable reason and project.
I guess that would be the building, the plans, all of that completed.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about a bricks and mortar project, and then you have to have the bricks and the mortar and, yeah, an open store. That's my real hesitation of using the money for architectural plans, and then the whole thing falls apart. You don't have an open store.
Right.
So, yeah, you've got to have an open store if this is a bricks and mortar project. If you can't get there, then you can't really spend this money.
Right. I can agree with that.
Yeah. So once, if designs have been looked at, architectural checked off by engineer, the permits have been issued, I think that would be a lot further down the road where there would be more comfort.
And they're going to have to find the money to do it, to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so then that almost puts them back. Well, they do have an ongoing business. So they have an ongoing business, which is a strength, a long time track record.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
He just need to prove that he could come up with the funds to make the kind of progress where we'd be comfortable putting this money in.
Right.
So it sounds like based on his track record and his long history of business operations,
and the fact that it was a well put together plan.
Mm-hmm. He just has a long way to go. Mm-hmm. But he has an operational business. So, is there a motion?
Yes, I make a motion that we approve Chad Chai for second place, as the second place contest winner after he gets further along in the plans and the building, and there's something there, and that he gets the money that he needs to to open the building, and that the building is progressing going forward before we award the money.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. So if we're giving him the money and he has to get further along toward the end of the project, then it means he can't spend it on the architectural drawings, which is how this proposal was written. So based on the way this proposal is written.
Oh, wait, you're right.
That almost says we're pretty much saying he can't spend the $5,000 up front because he's not far enough along. That kind of like kicks him out.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Diane, I think that's what you've been trying to say all along.
That's what I've been,
yeah,
I've been trying to say he can't use the money on architectural drawings because of the risk.
And what he's going to use it for, we don't know, right? We don't know.
And why if we can support the whole project or support his business, but it just needs to be later down the line when he is sure to have an operating open bricks and mortar business.
Mm-hmm. But then that way he can use it for whatever he needs it for.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm sorry, but can you then reframe your motion?
I barely got through that one. What?
You just have to shorten it, but you need.
Okay, so now he can't. So okay.
It can't be used for the architectural drawings, is what we're saying.
So I can just put that in the motion. not used for architectural drawings. Okay. I make a motion that we approve Chad's Chai for the second place business plan contest winner under the conditions that the money is not used for architectural drawings, and that it is used when he is further down the line in the project. Does that cover everything?
Yeah, I think you just need a second.
Is there a second?
Sure, I'll second.
All right, Darnella made the motion and Justin seconded. That Chad's Chai is the second place winner with the contingency that he spend the money later after the funds have already been secured for the construction part of the project. All in favor? Please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed?
All right. Well, thank you all for that discussion. It was very interesting to see your responses to this year's applicants. If you have any questions for me, just let me know.
Okay.
Stephen, as usual, thanks for your guidance, buddy.
Thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
All right.
Yes, thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, everybody.
Next time, someone else is going to be the chair of the meeting.
Is Doug coming back? Have you talked with Doug, Stephen?
I have talked to Doug. Hopefully he'll be around for next session.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.